they just thought it was lack of focus and effort tonight. Is that what you saw as well?
Yes. I just thought our energy wasn't where it needed to be. There's a couple things in life you can control. You can control your energy and your effort on a daily basis, no matter what. I just reminded him life's hard. It's not easy. But, being a D1 athlete's not easy either. So, we get to choose our hard on a regular basis. But this is a dream they all had. And they want to be here. They want to get better. They want to be coached. And it takes time. And I have to remember that. But sometimes we have to have some life lesson talks after the game. And hopefully one day it'll pay off. And I believe it will.
Yeah. What do you think led to maybe the slow start tonight? And then if it's a trend that you've seen from some of the other slow starts?
I think tonight also is we tried to get up and pressure a little bit, and we haven't had time to really work on our press because we've had so many games back to back, and we have so much to learn from the ground up. And so it does take time, and I have to remember that, to have some sort of patience. But at the end of the day, once we didn't get a trap, they were making us guard for 30 seconds. So they tried to slow us down. And if you have to guard for 30 seconds, where normally we don't use a shot clock, we're trying to force teams not to, and we didn't do a good job of that tonight. So I think that's where the slow start came from, because we're having to guard for 30 entire seconds, and they slowed the ball down.
What did you think of kind of the way the team came out in the third quarter and started scoring a little bit more?
They took heed to that halftime talk. That's the best way I can tell you.
And they mentioned, obviously, they've like a little bit of a lack of energy. You mentioned the, being forced to guard for 30 seconds as part of that. But defensively, was there anything Southeastern Louisiana was doing early that was causing you guys issues, or do you feel like it was more lack of energy on your guys' part?
I think a little bit of lack of energy and a lack of communication, but I think when you have to guard for 30 entire seconds, I thought they lulled us to sleep a few times, and then we made some mental errors.
And then I guess just looking ahead, you guys have a tough road game on Sunday. I get all the days mixed up in my head, but how much, I guess, was a wake up call, I guess, maybe needed, or how do you kind of, I guess, push this forward? I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah, that makes sense. And that's something we addressed after the game, is we can't take this performance on the road and expect to be successful. That's not going to help us be successful, especially in a road game when this will be our first road test. You have to play 10 points, 10 rebounds better when you go on the road. And we missed multiple layups tonight. We made some mental errors defensively. We didn't talk, we didn't communicate, and we didn't bring maximum energy. There's no way you're going to win on the road if you don't bring that. And that's definitely something we've addressed in the locker room.
Taleyah was in here saying that I don't think she doesn't remember the last time they had 25 points at halftime under a team that was coached by you. But, have you seen that over your time with her, that she can just take over a game, especially at halftime, and kind of come out with kind of the energy that was lacking in the first half?
I've seen Taleyah score 40 points in a game. I mean, she can really turn it on. And I know that, she hasn't shot her best game yet. I know that. But she's still settling in, and she does so many things on both sides of the basketball. She's rebounding extremely hard, and she's getting some good shots. I know she's going to knock those down. I mean, she still had 20-plus points tonight. But, she can break out for even more. I know she can, and I believe that she can definitely do that.
And then it's been a few games now, and every game there's a few offensive fouls. Is that something that can be addressed in practice, or is that something that can be fixed, or is it just kind of luck of the draw, small sample size? What do you kind of attribute to there?
I don't mind us being aggressive. I mean, we can't have, 10 offensive fouls a game, but we run the dribble drive. We have to be aggressive. We have to force the issue, get into the rim. So, we also have to start understanding we have to jump stop early, which that can be addressed in practice. We can work on step through. We can work on some sidestep. We can work on some counter moves in practice to help us combat that. But I don't want to take away their aggression.
Hey, Coach, what do you say to a player like Bonnie, who obviously had a great start to her college career in these first 3 games, but had kind of a tough night? What's the message as she kind of gets her first kind of rough night as a collegiate player?
After we addressed a lot of different things in post game in the locker room, I reminded him that at the end of the day, most people aren't going to remember that we didn't play our best. They're going to look back and say, oh, you won. And so that's a silver lining. And reminded him, I told him my mom used to tell me the sun's going to come up tomorrow. You're going to get a new opportunity. We found a way to get a win, and the sun is going to come up tomorrow, and we're going to have another opportunity, God willing, that we can address some issues, but we have to prepare for that next battle. And, I also told him that you can't live in the past. We know what things we need to fix, but if we live in the past, we're not going to move forward. I reminded him that, nobody drives their car in reverse. There's a reason that rear view mirror is a whole lot smaller than your front windshield. So I'm going to address the things that need to be addressed. I'm going to coach them really hard, and I reminded them of that. But at the end of the day, I know that there's another opportunity for us to get better tomorrow and fix things that are all fixable.
I guess whenever an underdog like Southeastern Louisiana can hang around a little bit longer than maybe expected, does that add any more pressure to the players? Does that kind of play into any heads or anything? Is that something that comes into play at all? Or
I think that it can. I think some of our mistakes were kind of self-inflicted tonight. That we, when you miss that many little bunnies, you miss some easy buckets around the rim. It kind of makes you tense up, and as we've had some success, but at the end of the day, it's still so new. Like, everybody's new. My staff is still new, trying to understand, everybody on the bench and who needs to play together. And there's just so many things that we still have to learn and we still have to execute on a daily basis. But I just keep reminding everybody, you don't build a house in a day. You don't build a house in 3 months. If you want to build something the right way, it takes time, and we're not going to stop continuing to do the right things and do the little things and correct them and push them and love them and continue to grow, because that's something that's going to last and withstand the test of time.